So, with Horner out the door, it makes you wonder if Verstappen is going to be the next one on the way out. Now, on last week's show, we discussed the growing rumours of Verstappen and Mercedes engaged in talks about potentially joining them as soon as next season. Now, plus the possibility that if Verstappen comes to Mercedes, they're likely to keep Kimi Antonelli and drop George Russell for the 2026 driver lineup. However, the path to getting Verstappen to Mercedes is going to be an uphill battle because his exit clause in Red Bull contract would only activate he's lower than fourth in the Drivers' Championship by the time the summer break arrives. Otherwise, Mercedes would have to pay over $100 million to buy out his Red Bull contract. Now, with Red Bull's star driver flirting with another team, who appears to be the only driver in the world who can get results with their car, it leaves some thinking that the firing of Horner was a move to appease Verstappen's camp and convince him to stay. However, both Red Bull drivers have posted on social media responding to today's news. First up, we can take a look as well on our screen. I hope so. There we go. Yuki Tsunoda, and it's saying, "Thank you, Christian, for all the support you've given me this year. It's been amazing to see what you've built at Red Bull Racing, and thank you for making me part of that. I've learned a lot, and I'm grateful for everything." Max Verstappen said, "From my first race win to 4 World Championships, we have shared incredible success, winning memorable races and breaking countless records. Thank you for everything, Christian." Just quickly as well, Matt, as well, coming to you on this one. Before I ask you this question, can you just give us the list of drivers who declined to comment?
Well, all of the drivers that have been mid-seasonally moved or sacked from Red Bull: Scott Speed, Sebastian Bourdais, Sebastian Buemi, Jaime Alguersuari, Pierre Gasly, Brendan Hartley, Daniel Kvyat, Danny Rick. There's more.
Liam
Alex Albon, Liam Lawson. Yeah, I've run out of fingers. Yes, all of the Red Bull drivers that have been moved would have seen this news this morning and gone, now you see how I feel.
It is ironic they've done it mid-season. It's the perfect justice.
Just.
So, since you weren't on the show last week, though, I want to get your thoughts on Verstappen having talks with Mercedes. And also, do you believe that the Horner firing will make Verstappen more likely to stay or go to another team?
Quickly, before we get to that, this is the first day in the life of Kimi Antonelli where Christian Horner is not the team boss at Red Bull.
Oh,
what an amazing stat that is. And tomorrow will be day number 2. Max. Well, George Russell was talking up his stock. Of course he was at the weekend. Didn't have a great Grand Prix. We'll talk about that perhaps in odds and knots later on. Much to talk about from the Grand Prix at the weekend. But he was talking up his stocks on Friday that, things are good in his world in terms of contract talks and stuff are progressing, and he was quite confident that he was going to stay. I've said for quite a while, especially after Lewis left, they need to keep one linchpin of the 2 drivers there. They put so much time and money into George. You think back through all the Williams days, they picked him up as a junior when he was in F3, F2, whatever it was, when he was at ART. They brought him all the way through. He's been kind of in the Toto land of Mercedes. It's been George, because of course Lewis was already there, with Ross Brawn and Nicky Lauda and such back at the very beginning. So George has been Toto's guy as such in that respect, and I didn't feel like moving him aside was really the optics of it would have been not great. But if Max Verstappen's on the market, then I guess you have to talk to him, and there has been some talk that they have talked, Toto and Max, over this last little while. What does today do in terms of changing all of that? Well, there was another report from the weekend that Jos, Max's dad, and Christian again had some heated exchanges at Silverstone over the weekend in the paddock, which was spotted by a few people. Maybe that's just got something to do with it. I think this was my first go-to this morning after seeing it and going, "Wow, oh my goodness!" Was, well, Max is staying then, because surely to the terms of the Verstappen, what do you want in your next contract? And of course, Max's contract is up at the end of the season. Well, I'll stay if Christian goes. and all of the turmoil that's happened since pre-Bahrain last year with the text message scandal, the WhatsApp Christian Horner scandal, felt like there was always going to be a butting of heads between them. Thinking back when you were talking about Max's wins, when Christian's come on the radio to him on the cool-down lap and said, "Oh, great job, Max," like he would normally do. Max has always been a bit, yeah, thanks. Hasn't been like really excited to talk to him, and it's always seemed like to me that since all that happened, there's been a bit of a grey area between the two. What will Max do if this is what turns out that now he's going to stay? I guess we'll find out probably summer breaky time, I would guess. Once this is all calmed down, then they can get around the table with the proper heads of Red Bull, the Red Bull company rather than the Red Bull team, and get this contract done. How will he and Mickey's get on over the next little while? Obviously we wait to see what happens with that. But to me, it feels like that's the thing here that's happened is I'll stay, but you need to make some changes above me because the way things are going at the moment, I'm not confident that anything will change going into this new rule cycle as well that we've got coming in next year, which is massive. And if they're going to make changes, now was the time to make the changes, bring in some new people, get their feet under the table, and then get themselves ready for a full attack again at both championships again next season.
Yeah, I think this could really go either way, Matt. It's really hard to read this situation this way and that way. But at some point, this is all going to come to a head, and we'll finally get our answer. If what we've seen reported is true, about a rift between Jos Verstappen and Christian Horner, I guess this could be seen, as Josh said, a potential way to appease to the Verstappen camp. Be like, this is the guy that's causing all the frustration and issues. I said, we get rid of this guy, bring in Lawrence, and see if he can try to lead this team to new heights. Then maybe Max Verstappen will stay in 2026 or beyond, or maybe it could be the other way around. That Max Verstappen potentially on his way to Mercedes, and they're frustrated with Christian because end up losing Max to the rival team. But we just have to wait and see what happens there. I think it's super hard to tell whether Max is going to stay or go, but we've been following this the last few weeks, and we're certainly going to be following the next few weekends as well. As Formula One returns in 2 weeks' time, have this mini 2-week break before we get on to the 3-week summer break. A lot's going to be going on. I know a lot of people thought we were going to have a quiet period, but it's been nothing but quiet. It's been a lot of silly season stuff going on.
I brought Satan's sister in. Hello, Megan.
That means you're Satan.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think that one through, did I?
Okay. We
Okay.
do have 2 more siblings, so
That's true.
one of them can be it.
Let's put Kellyanne's in. Now, I brought her in. I just gave her a shout because Matt's stats made me think logically here. We can also count it to Oliver Behrman as well. But Megan, would you just care to tell us when you were born?
2005, April 30th.
So this is the first day in your life where Christian Horner has not been team principal at Red Bull.
No.
Yeah. I haven't told her that stat either.
No.
Yeah.
All of my life.
All of your life.
Why has that man been in charge of Red Bull all of my life? What?
Yeah. That's boggled your mind, hasn't it? I couldn't wait until Spa practice 1 to tell you that. I couldn't. Yeah. 20 years.
Strange but true.
When did he?
January the 1st, 2005. That's when Red Bull became a team, and he was team principal then.
Jeez.
Yeah. And your thoughts on him being fired?
Hooray. And also, what in the world took that man to be fired? I mean, if last year didn't make him be fired, what did now? What couldn't money save him from?
That's a good point, actually. What couldn't money save him from this time around? Now, is it, just quickly, Max Verstappen, we've talked about it. Would he go to Mercedes, or do you see this as a...
I think now that Christian's gone, he is more likely to stay at Red Bull.
But if he wants to go, is it Mercedes or Aston? Because he's now got 2 very good choices. In fact, I want to say he's got 3 good choices.
Mercedes, he may be fond of Adrian Newey's cars, but I don't want him to take over possibly Fernando's spots. So.
You're not going to get rid of Lance, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Megan.